Hello and welcome to the Django Celery Mastery course. Just a quick reminder, if you like this course and would like to access the source code and more, you can access this course on Udemy. The link to the course, which should provide the best price, is in the video description. Staying in the realms of task prioritization, I wanted to introduce task rate limits here because, as I've kind of suggested, it does feed into the idea of prioritization. Now, Celery task rate limits allow us to control the rate at which tasks are executed by limiting the number of tasks that can be processed within a specific time period. That brings us back to this diagram here, where we initially looked at this diagram setting up Redis with this idea of queue prioritization. We set up multiple queues and then hypothetically, we assigned these queues to different workers. Maybe those workers are on different servers, and those servers have different resources. So here, Q1, this was sent to a worker on a server which had potentially a bigger CPU resource than maybe another server that was in Q4, which had a lower priority. So where rate limit might come into play here in our 4-queue system with different servers is that this is going to help prevent overwhelming the system, or in this case, our server, resources by enforcing a rate restriction on task execution. So in this server here with this worker on Q1, which has the higher prioritization, this might have a bigger task rate limit so that we can process more. Whereas Q4 here on this other server, which has a low priority, we're given a lower priority, this might have a lower rate limit. So it just takes longer to potentially process the tasks. So at this point, if you have been following along step by step, we still only have one worker because we have commented out the secondary worker for now. So we are using the worker which is related and utilizes or mirrors the Django app, just to recap that. So it's kind of irrelevant, but let's go back into Celery here. That's in dCelery Celery. Let's go ahead now and configure this with a little bit of rate limiting. So app.config.task default. So task default rate limit. So we're going to set that to 5. So 5/m, so 5 per minute. In actual fact, I'm going to set this to, very quickly, just to 1 minute. And I have already set this up just to show that it works. So 1 minute is probably more effective in this case. We don't want to wait too long. So I think the default rate limit is 10. So we've set this to 1 per minute. If I go back into Docker Desktop here, just to show that I have already set this up, and I'll take you through it if you need that. You can see here, for example, these tasks have been lined up, and just looking at the time here, you can see the time that they're executed. So this one was on 15:27:46. This was on 15:28:46. So we can see that there is a minute delay between these tasks. So hopefully you can start to see how potentially we can add this layer to this type of system where we have a queue priority system based upon different server resources, how this could be potentially utilized. Now, we don't necessarily have to set the rate limit here in our configuration. We can also, in the tasks, we can also apply that here. So the task rate, okay, right, task rate limit. So we can also pass it here with the particular task. So you can kind of see the dynamics here in terms of where they can be applied directly on the tasks, and obviously how they're related to individual tasks. So if you are looking to try this out, don't forget, you're probably getting used to this now, being that we've done it multiple times. If you have been watching from the start, go ahead and just restart all of the containers, or just rebuild with the new option here, and then just go ahead and let's move into the Docker container and then manage.py. Let's go into the shell. And of course, at this point, you can use the commands here. We just need to import our task and then just try it out. So tp1.maybe delay and just give it a go. So you can fire off a couple of these and then you can see it for yourself. So if we take a look here in Celery, we can see that 4 tasks have now been lined up. So we could potentially process other tasks. So let's bring in TP2 and TP3. So let's go for a TP2 there. So you can see that that has been received and it has been processed straight away. But obviously we are still waiting for the other tasks to be processed, which have been limited to 1 per minute. Okay, so by setting task rate limits, we can control the rate at which tasks are processed, ensuring that they are executed within defined limits, or to avoid overwhelming the system or external resources.